All right. Hi, folks. This is Larry Maslino. I wanted to record a video on this is Module 5 in Math 230, and I wanted to go over a little bit about matrices. And so this is section 5.11 in ZY Books. And basically, think of a matrix as a table with rows and columns. And so there's a certain numbering scheme. So the way you specify a matrix is you write the number of rows first and then the number of columns second. Okay, and you put this little X in between to say, to indicate a separator between rows and columns. So let me look at this first example right here. I'm noticing this is 3 rows and 2 columns, right? The rows are the horizontal entries, the columns are the vertical entries. So we would call this 3 by 2, 3 rows by 2 columns. How about this example over here? Well, notice this is 2 by 2. There's 2 rows and 2 columns. When you see the same number of rows and columns like this, we call this a square matrix. Square matrix just means it's the same number of rows and tables. All right, let me go to an example here. Let me scroll down a little bit. And so it's going to ask us here, what matrix is a 2 by 3? Well, I know that means 2 rows and 3 columns. Well, the only matrix that is 2 rows and 3 columns is matrix B. So the answer here is going to be B. Next, it says, what matrix is square? Well, remember, square means it has to have the same number of rows and columns. Right here is the square matrix. It has 2 rows and 2 columns. So this answer is going to be C. What is the value of A sub 3, 2? Well, what they mean by this is what number in the matrix is sitting in row 3, column 2. And of course, they mean matrix A. So let's go to matrix A. Here it is. We have to go to row 3. Here's row 3. Column 2. Here's column 2. And it looks like the number sitting in that position is 9. So the answer to this one is a 9. All right, so that's the basics of kind of the notation used for matrices. Let me go down to a simple operation of adding matrices. So let me come down here. I think there's an example for adding matrices. Yeah. So adding matrices is relatively straightforward. Multiplying matrices is more complicated. But let's start out with adding. When you add matrices together, um, you're going to add the corresponding entries. So for example, if we're going to sum together matrix A and matrix B, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up here in this upper left-hand corner for A, and I'm going to add the corresponding entry in matrix B. So that's going to be 1 plus 0. And of course, that's a 1. So that's going to be the answer I put over here in the sum matrix. Okay. All right, let me do another example. How about if we, so again, all you have to do here to add is add corresponding entries. Now, in this example, this is really Boolean addition. So, think of these as zeros and ones, so that when you get a 0 plus a 0, that's a 0. A 0 plus a 1 is a 1. A 1 plus a 0 is a 1. And a 1 plus a 1 stays 1. That's a little confusing. So notice right here is a 1 being added to its corresponding 1. It stays 1. Okay, so all you have to do to add matrices together is add the corresponding entries. What if it was not Boolean? Let me make up another example here. Let me make up 3, 7, 4, 2. And I want to add 6, 8, 1, 9, let's say. Well, to do this addition, I'm just going to add up the corresponding entries. So let me take 3 plus 6. That's going to get me 9. 7 plus 8 is 15. 4 plus 1 is 5. And 2 plus 9 is 11. So here is the sum of these two matrices. All right, that's adding. Let's go back a little bit and talk about something called a dot product. So let me go to an example for that. Yep, let's come here. All right. And so this one is a Boolean example. And it says, what is the dot product of row 2 of A? Here's row 2 of A. And column 3 of B. Here's column 3. So I have to know, how do you calculate the dot product? Well, here is the rule up here. So if you want to calculate the dot product, you take the corresponding entry from row A to column B and multiply those together, and then add those sums together. So let me show you what we're going to do here. Let's start with row 2 in A. So I'm going to start here with this 1. I'm going to multiply it by the first entry in column 3 of B. So that's going to multiply this one. So that's going to be 1 times 1. Remember, this is Boolean. Let me go to the next entry. I'll do this in blue. The next entry is a 0. I got to multiply it by the next entry in the column. So that's going to be 0 times 1. And let me do the third entry in green. So I'm going to take this third entry in the row in column A. I'm going to multiply it by the third entry in the column. So that's going to be 1 times 1. Now I'm just going to add these together. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. So I end up with, let's do this, 1 plus 0, that's 1, plus 1. And again, this is Boolean, so the answer here is 1. So that stays 1. Okay, so for a dot product, you have to take a row times a column, for example. You could also take a column times a row, but in this example, row times a column. And what you do is you take each corresponding entry in the row, multiply it times the corresponding entry in the column, and then add together the results of those multiplications. Okay? And I think they show this to you in a little bit of an animation here in ZY Books. Let me show that to you. I think if you click here, Start, it's going to show you in an animation. I guess let me go back again. Do it again here. So I'm going to show it to you in kind of an animation where they're taking that row times the column and doing the operations that we were just talking about. All right, let me come down to an example of doing matrix multiplication. And so the way you have to do matrix multiplication, and this gets a little confusing, is where you take the dot product of every row times every column. So you'd start out with each row in matrix A and take the dot product with the column in matrix B. So let's do an example here. And maybe I'll start the animation on this example so you could see it in action. So notice what they're going to start here is they're taking the first row times the first column. Okay, and they put that answer in the first position in matrix C. All right, now they're going to move. Let me go here. We'll do it again. Now they're going to move and take the the first row in column A and multiply it by the second column in matrix B. Put that answer in the red circle. Do it again. Now they're going to take the first row in A, dot product with the third column in B, And now that's the answer in the red circle. And now they're going to repeat that whole process over again with row 2, and then repeat it again with row 3 in matrix A. So the way to do this matrix multiplication, again, it's a little messy, but the way you do the matrix multiplication is you take each row in matrix A and multiply it with a dot product setup for each column in matrix B. Okay, so maybe you can try this example yourself, and again, follow the animation here. And I'll post another example on matrix multiplication in a little while, where we'll do some examples that are not Boolean matrices. Okay, hope this is helpful as you're working in Module 5.